What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. There is a lot that we need to talk about, so let's do this, shall we? So, going back to a festival, a musical festival, mind you, people are excited about it, but you never know what could happen. With big festivals opening up like Coachella, ACL, and many other musical festivals, you never know what could happen because people are looking forward to it. Now, the prices are going to be hella crazy, and people are going to pay for those crazy ass prices. I mean, people will sacrifice a liver or something for a concert ticket. And what happened at AstroWorld, it totally could have been preventable. Now, at Travis Scott's AstroWorld concert in Houston, Texas, at least 8 people were killed and hundreds were injured during the whole concert. Now, recently, throughout last week, I've heard that another person passed away. And as I was working on a story, a friend of mine told me yesterday that another person was killed yesterday. So the age ranges from 9 to 27 years old. Now, the young man who died yesterday, he was 9 years old. Just 9 years old, people. And this young one was in a induced coma after being trampled during the crowd stage. Now, the crowd surge, my apologies. Now, at least 50,000 people were at this event. And shortly after 9:30 p.m., the crowd began to, run towards the front of the stage, and that's what caused panic, as said by the Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena in a press conference. Now, as he stated, the crowd began to compress towards the front of the stage, and this caused some panic, and it also caused some injury. So basically, if you're, say, 100 feet away from the front stage and you see your favorite artist, such as Travis Scott, coming, people are going to bolt it all the way over there just to get, a better view. They can get front row seats and that kind of thing. And that is what happened during this concert. Now, during the whole thing, at least 25 people were transported to nearby hospitals, as said by Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, and 11 of them experienced cardiac arrest. Now, more than 300 people were treated at the scene of the field hospital set in the RG Park, said by the Pena. And throughout all these injuries, like I said, the youngest child injured was 9 years old. Now, seeing videos, I saw that there was also a 5-year-old there. And to the parents, I gotta ask, what the hell? You think it's okay to take a 5-year-old to a concert where there are like at least 50,000 people out there, because you never know what could happen. Basically, you just think, oh yeah, it's all good to bring my 5-year-old to this concert. Nothing bad is going to happen. Really? You think nothing bad is going to happen. But continuing on, this basically wasn't the first time Travis Scott has dealt with this kind of thing. In 2019, at least 3 people were hospitalized after being trampled while getting into the festival. Now, Travis Scott, whose real name is Jacquees Webster, he was also arrested and charged in 2015 for encouraging fans to hop over barricades at Lollapalooza, a very popular musical festival in Chicago, Illinois. Now, people there were nurses there at the concert and everything on the way. And Madeline Eskin, who was an ICU nurse, she attended the event, and she said that assisted medics with other patients after she passed out. She woke up in the area, and during the time she was trying to figure out, like, the medics didn't know what they were doing. If you're a medic and you don't know what you're doing, that's a sign that you should go into a different field. Okay? I'm sorry, but I'm just saying. But other festival goers during that time were struggling to breathe. Some were saying that Travis Scott wasn't listening to the people out there saying, hey, stop the concert, because there are people out here who are getting injured and whatnot along the way. Now, seeing all these videos, you can see people yelling out, stop the concert, stop the concert. And there are like the little go-karts, like ambulance going through. And you see Travis, I think he's like, oh, what's going on over there? Okay, you should probably stop your concert and investigate as to what's going on. But yet you kept going on and everything along the way. Now, Travis Scott, along with his wife Kylie Jenner, who shares a 3-year-old, and they are expecting their second child, went on to social media and saying that they both were unaware of the unfolding during the performance. Yeah, it makes it, you get 50,000 people out there and you don't pay attention. Who's to say what's going to happen? Yet you see all of these people telling you to stop the concert, and you see all these ambulance coming through, and yet you just kept going with the damn concert. Now, people are saying that legal action should be taken against Travis Scott, and I agree with them. And at least 140 lawsuits have been filed against Travis Scott and other festival goers. Some concert goers have hired attorneys to represent them in the lawsuit against Travis Scott, Live Nation, and other people associated with producing the show. Attendee Manuel Souza, who represented by Gherkin Garcia LLP, is filing a petition saying that this was basically a tragedy and it was also predictable and preventable. Now, again, all this could not happen if, people were not to run up there, if, security guards and everything else was like on it and everything's on the way, but at the same time, it was just madness. And I had a friend, he's very popular, his name is Khan, and he was there, and I told him, I said, hey bro, just be safe out there, because a lot of things went out there. He told me he was being safe, and everything was on the way. But at the same time, all of this happening at this concert, it totally could have been preventable. Don't you guys agree? Like, what are your thoughts about this? And what do you think could have happened? Do you think that a lawsuit should be made against Travis Scott? Do you not think a lawsuit should be made? But again, what are your thoughts about this? Because all of this is just a tragedy to hear about this. These 10 people who have died from this concert, and there's probably still people in comas because of this concert. And a lot of people have been worried so much about this, and now going to a concert in the future, more and more people are going to be concerned and worried. So 2020 was basically a big shitstorm. We dealt with a lot last year with the pandemic happening and so much more. There was a lot of violence, there was a lot of killings, and so much more. And during the summer, a lot happened for people. I talked about the shooting of 29-year-old Jacob Blake, and I can post a video somewhere in the description, or I can post it somewhere on here. But I talked about that last year, and I also talked about the protest that happened in Wisconsin a year ago, and also about a young man by the name of Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, recently, Kyle Rittenhouse is on trial for the shooting and killing of 2 protesters 1 year ago in Wisconsin. And prosecutors and defense lawyers have rested their cases and a close watch of the homicide trial of the 18-year-old. Now, over 8 days of testimonies, which included a dramatic turn by Rittenhouse himself, where he sobbed on the stand, witnesses and visual evidence described a tense and chaotic night filled with fires, verbal threats, and physical intimidation, and where guns abound in the hands of protesters and self-styled militiamen alike. Now, in late August of 2020, in the city of Kenosha, Wisconsin, was developed by chaotic protests, and police there shot and wounded a 20-year-old black man by the name of Jacob Blake. Now, if you don't know the story, you can watch the video or, look it up yourself, and everything's on the way. But recently, hearing about Jacob Blake, he is now somewhat going back to walk because he was somewhat paralyzed from the waist down. He was paralyzed from the waist down, but he is now going back to walking, and he's suffering from PTSD from this. And when all this happened, protesters began destroying police cars and burning down several buildings. And on August 25th, ahead of a three-night demonstrations, Rittenhouse said that he traveled from his home from Antioch, Illinois, to Kenosha to protect private property and act as a medic. And during that time, he was 17, which is illegal to have a firearm. So, yes. Now, Rittenhouse went onto the streets that night armed with an AR-15 rifle and had a series of confrontations with protesters. He went out and he shot and killed Joseph Rosenbaum. Then, minutes later, he shot and killed Anthony Hubert and injured Gage Grosskreutz. Now, Rittenhouse said in the trial that he was acting in self-defense and everything's on the way. But protesters have argued that the defendant created the peril through his own reckless actions and caused the fear in others and who lived out there and led directly to the violence. Now, with all of this, Rittenhouse faces 6 charges. He faces first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree reckless homicide, first-degree attempt murder, attempted international homicide, 2 counts of reckless endangerment, and a lesser charge of possession of a dangerous weapon by the person under 18. Again, he was 17 at the time when he went out to Kenosha. And Rittenhouse pleaded not guilty to all of them, of course. And the 7th charge was for curfew violation, but it was dismissed from the judge. Now, if all this was convicted, if Rittenhouse is convicted, he could face up to life in prison. Now, the prosecution attempted to discredit the core of the defense and everything's on the way by questioning why a teenager who allegedly possessed an AR-15 would feel that his life was in danger. Thomas Binger, the lead prosecutor, tried to depict Rittenhouse as a armed threat, citing witness accounts who claimed that he was just a teen who raised his gun in the direction where people were throughout the night. And there was also a confrontation between Binger and through the judge and everything's own way. So it was just a lot between both of them.
For me, not for you.
My understanding of
You should have come and asked for reconsideration. You did on the one motion, and in fact, I granted your motion for reconsideration.
That was not our motion.
Excuse me. I did. I granted.
We did not move
that
to
was
reconsider.
Their motion.
We have not filed any
me.
motions to reconsider in this case.
That was their motion for reconsideration, which I denied. But I said I denied it, or I indicated a bias towards denial is what I did. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that made it okay for you, without any advance notice, to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, I'll leave it at that. So I don't know what you're up to.
Now, again, through all of this, we're trying to figure what's going on. What's going to be the outcome of all this? And Binger said to Rittenhouse during the trial, he's like, "You're telling us that you feel like you were about to die, right? But you pointed the gun at someone else, and that makes them feel like they're about to die, right? And that's what you wanted him to feel." And hearing that, you just go, wow, he truly went deep on that. And it actually makes a lot of sense for that to happen. And flustered by this and on the verge of tears, Rittenhouse claimed that one of the victims could have ran away instead of trying to take his gun. Again, if you watch the whole confrontation, you can see all that happened during that night. And when people were looking at Rittenhouse crying, people made fun of him, Hell, even LeBron James made fun of him, was telling him like, "Stop crying. Those are just fake tears," and so much more. And a lot of people and went on to LeBron James telling him, leave him alone, blah blah blah, and everything's on the way. Folks, it just goes to show that our justice system, it's just wonky, basically. And this has been on my mind since, watching a day or two of the trial. If Rittenhouse was a different race, how would that trial go? And I know since I asked this, I know a lot of people gonna ask, go say, "Oh, you're a dumbass for asking blah 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 this, blah 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 that." I got you. I get you. But at the same time, how long do you think the trial will be if Rittenhouse was a different race? And I know I saw on social media, they compared Rittenhouse to the young man from the Timberview shooting a while back. Here's the thing, though. There's a difference between that. The young man who was from the Timberview High School, he was bullied. Rittenhouse, he was making fun of this and everything's on the way. Even when he was like freed and everything, he sort of, he was making fun of this. He wore a shirt about this kind of thing. So again, it just is a lot to happen. Now, there's still the trial going on, but at the same time, what are your thoughts about it? I just want to know. I know some are going to be against it, some are going to be for it, but what are your thoughts about this whole trial? After 14 crazy ass years that have been dreadful for her, Britney Spears is finally free from her father's conservatorship that has controlled her whole life and her money. Now, this decision capped a stunning odyssey for Britney Spears publicly, and the demand of her conservatorship, hire her own attorney, and have her father removed from power and finally win the freedom that she deserved. Medical, financial, and personal decisions since the first time in 2008. And celebration of this news broke out. People outside the courthouse chanting "Britney, Britney, Britney," and fans singing and dancing to Britney Spears' song "Stronger." Now, Britney Spears' attorney Matthew Rosengart told fans in the case that it helped shine a light for conservatorship and guardianship towards many other people from coast to coast, from California to New York, and took a tremendous amount of insight, courage, and grace. Now, throughout this whole thing, I talked about it in one of my videos about how her father, Jamie, was truly abusive towards her and, trying to deal with a lot, controlling over her entire life. And Britney Spears, she just wanted her life back, as she said. And it was a key to unveiling from a speech she made in June. Now, she kept repeating it more and more times, and she demanded that it would be over without prying anything from her mental state. And throughout the whole thing, the judge who was very, very helpful, allowed her to hire Rosengart, an attorney of her choice, in July, and she made it a goal to fire her father. Like, she made it a goal to just remove him from everything that he has done towards her. And she basically did so much. She was so happy about this. I mean, she went on Instagram and she shamed her whole family about how they said they care about her, but they actually didn't care about her, and so much more. But hearing about this, 14 years, just wild, just crazy to even hear about this. And I'm happy that she's free. Happy that she can now be her own person and not have to deal with all this craziness. Folks, what are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts about everything dealing with, Britney Spears, or even if you know about any other person like in the industry, like the entertainment industry, like that, who has also dealt with that kind of thing, let me know what you guys thoughts about that. Also, let me know what you guys thoughts about the whole AstroWorld concert. If you were there, tell me how did you feel about it? The Rittenhouse trial. What do you guys thoughts about that? Johnson and Johnson. What do you guys thoughts about that kind of thing? Or anything else? Like Oprah interviewing Adele with her new album that came out. Hell, even Taylor Swift's new Red album. Whatever's on your mind, let me know in the comment section below. You can DM me, you can message me, that kind of thing. Okay? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let the people know I am out there getting the word for you guys, because that is what I do. I do all that I can and so much more. Now, I will say, if you are dealing with a lot, like me, there are people out there who can help you out. And one of them is BetterHelp. And BetterHelp has a ton of renowned therapists who can be there for your beckon and help you out with so much more. Now, this isn't like a promo. It's just saying, if you think that you need help, go to BetterHelp. They are very beneficial for you and so much more. But with that being said, I love all you guys. Thank you so much for watching my videos if you do watch them. And with that, I hope you guys be safe and peace out.